Hey everyone, in today's video I would love to talk to you about mindset. Mindset is something that has really helped me by being aware of what my mindset was in certain situations and being aware of the different types of mindsets that exist. So I thought it would be interesting to do a video on this topic. Basically, you can differentiate between two types of mindsets that you can have as a person. You basically have a fixed mindset, which means that you believe that the way you are is just the way you are. And that is kind of what you live with, what you deal with, and what you operate from. So if you believe that you have a fixed mindset, you're not really looking for growth. You're usually quite either comfortable in the position that you are in, or you have accepted that as your position and as your space and place in life. And therefore you will basically be stuck where you are. The other type of mindset that you can have as a person is a growth mindset. And a growth mindset is really quite wonderful because it means that you believe that as a person, as an individual, you can grow and get better at things, and that you can learn and achieve more than you could before. So if you have this fixed mindset, you can really sabotage yourself, because if you've been through trauma, if you've been through hard things, you can get stuck in the idea that because you've always been this way, things will always be this way. So if you come from a dysfunctional family, you're most likely to believe that it's just the way it is, things won't get better. And you might not be able to be very good with money, might not be able to manage your money very well, and you just kind of accept it and live in that situation where you're actually not really happy, or maybe you're comfortable, I don't know, but you accept that when you have a fixed mindset because you don't really recognize that potential for growth. On the other hand, when you have a growth mindset, you basically believe in personal development, personal growth, and you want to try to get better at things. You want to challenge yourself to become a better version of yourself, basically. So people who are willing to start their own business are usually people with a growth mindset, because they see potential and they want to work to achieve certain goals, and they believe they can actually do it. And personally, I really love the idea of having a growth mindset, because once you believe that you can do something, you usually will put the work in to achieve your goal. And maybe you'll not achieve that exact goal, but you will definitely get closer as when you just don't put the work in and when you don't believe you can actually get there, if you know what I mean. So, two interesting books that I've read about the topic that I would like to share about are What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, which is a very American book, so it is quite repetitive. It could have been about half the size of the book, I think. But nonetheless, it's a pretty good read because it made me aware that the things I tell myself, even if it's just internally, just in my head, are the things that I will believe. So if I tell myself I cannot make an ASMR video, or I cannot get my degree, the more I say that to myself, or the more I tell myself I'm not attractive, or I'm overweight, or whatever negative belief you can tell yourself repetitively, you will start believing it and it will become your truth. So the moment that you learn to shift your mindset, and the moment that you talk to yourself in a way that is actually loving and encouraging, you will actually start to see a difference. There was this situation in my life where I looked back on my parents' marriage and how they treated each other, and it was honestly kind of depressing because they would just fight all the time. There was very little respect, and it was just not a happy, healthy situation. And after a few fights with my then boyfriend, I kind of felt like that was just the way things were. I had learned about unhappy relationships because of my parents, because of their behavior. I had internalized their behavior and it had become my behavior. And for a little while I was kind of stuck in that, and it was really depressing, and I honestly thought of never having a relationship again, because it would only turn out to be as bad as my parents' relationship. But then I was listening to this song, I think it was a song by Ledger, and she sang that she was not damaged beyond repair. And that is such a strong example of growth mindset, because if you're not damaged beyond repair, that means that you can heal, and that you can learn, and that you can grow. So through telling myself that this is something I can overcome, I actually allowed myself to overcome all this negativity that surrounded my relationships. And since then I've been doing a lot better at not having those patterns in my life that my parents used to show. So shifting your mindset and creating this new set of beliefs for yourself can actually be really, really helpful. And I'm honestly not telling you to go lie to yourself, definitely not, but I think it's really, really important to be aware of the stories and the narratives that you use when you think, when you talk to others about yourself, when you talk to yourself, because it's so, so powerful. There's even a difference between telling yourself, I will achieve, and like putting it somewhere in the future, or sort of telling yourself that you can already do it. And apparently telling yourself that you are strong and that you are healthy is way more powerful than telling yourself that you will get strong and healthy. Because if you tell yourself it will happen in the future, you have this great excuse to not start right now, to not start today. But if you tell yourself you already are, then you basically have that belief that you can already do the exercise you're supposed to do. And you are much more likely to put the work in. So I will link the book that I've talked about in the description box below so you can check it out. It's quite a long read, it's a little repetitive, but I think the basic principles are really, really powerful and can really help you in basically developing a better relationship with yourself, in talking to yourself the way your best friend would, still being honest, but also being really kind and encouraging, and having unlimited belief in your potential. And it doesn't mean you'll never fail, because you probably will fail. It's real life, guys. We will fail and not achieve our goals, but by trying we can get so much further as when we just sit back and wait for stuff to happen. So that's the first thing I wanted to address. Second thing I want to address is a book that I've read by Marie Forleo. I think that's how you pronounce her name, I'm not sure. And she wrote this book called Everything is Figureoutable. I wish I had a hard copy here to show you, but it's on my e-reader, so it will look like shit with a black and white cover, so I'm not going to show you the book, but I will put a link in the description as well. And in this book, she basically differentiates between two kinds of problems or challenges in your life. There's one kind that you can't really do anything about. It's like your dog dying, your parent getting cancer, stuff like that is something that you have very, very little control over. And it's something you'll have to do and have to deal with. You can't fix it by the way that you deal with it. And there's another type of issue, which is basically everything that is figureoutable. And whether it's getting bad grades in school, that's figureoutable. Whether it's starting your own business, that's figureoutable. Whether it is starting a diet and getting yourself back into shape and finding a healthier lifestyle for yourself, that is figureoutable. And in this book she describes how basically every aspect of your life can be figureoutable if you want it to be, if you're willing to put in the work, and if you're willing to start taking those baby steps. And I think as someone who has struggled with anxiety and panic attacks and thoughts of like big stuff that made it difficult for me to deal with life, I've found a lot of comfort in breaking things down into tiny baby steps. Because once you get some momentum and you cross a few of those tiny tasks off your list, it makes such a difference, because you start creating that credibility towards yourself, where you show yourself, hey girl, you can do this, or hey dude, you can do this. So basically, by putting the work in, you can prove to yourself that you are reliable, that you are trustworthy, and that you can get shit done. And it can be literally as simple as promising yourself to start your day off with a glass of water each and every single day. No matter where you are, no matter what's going on, you will drink a glass of water at the start of your day. And the moment you've done that for like a month or so, your brain will have gotten used to it, and you've also gained so much trust in yourself, because apparently you are someone who can stick to a promise. You are someone that you can perceive as reliable, and that is so powerful, and that really causes a shift in your brain towards actually trusting yourself to achieve bigger things. For me, a really powerful example is running. I used to go running a lot, and basically every year I'd sign up for a running event as kind of my commitment, because if I signed up for the event, I didn't want to fail. So towards the event, I would start training, and then after the event, I'd keep it up for a little bit. And then winter came, and I would basically stop running. And every year, it was basically the same story. I've done this event for like 4 or 5 years now, and at some point I also got to the point where I knew I could do the 3.5k I signed up for, so I wouldn't worry too much about like doing the workouts and putting the work in. I would just sign up a few weeks before the actual run, before the actual event. I would start training again, then do the run, and then kind of forget about it. But that's not how you build consistency and how you build confidence in yourself. So what I started doing this year was make a promise to myself that every week I would do 3 runs. No matter how small, no matter how inconvenient, I would have to do 3 runs every single week. And I set myself some goals, because I wanted to be able to run 5k by the start of October. And I think I wanted to be able to run 30 minutes without having a break and without having to walk in between by the start of September. And I set myself the goal to be able to run, 7k by the 1st of January. Well, at the time of recording this, it is October, it's like mid-October. I've already been able to run this 7k. I already achieved my goal because I was committed to doing 3 runs a week, committed to basically trusting myself to put the work in, and I've come so much further than I ever expected, and it's really, really powerful, because it helped me not only gain confidence in my running, but also gain confidence in myself as a business owner, and gain confidence in myself to start creating these videos. So it's so powerful when you make a commitment to yourself and you actually stick to it. It's so incredibly powerful. Another thing I did, which is a bit more low level and which might be able to help you as well, is journaling. I made a promise to myself at the start of August, I think, to start journaling every single day. And I genuinely haven't skipped a single day since then. And I found it really helpful to do. It really helps me sort of wind down after a long day. And it also helps me to keep on track with where I want to be. It helps me reflect on where I stand, what I'm working towards, and what's important to me. So I also found that really, really helpful. But that was a bit of a sidetrack. I was talking about this book, and in her book, Marie Forleo basically teaches us that lots of things, even though they are really complicated or seem basically impossible at the time, are actually not that difficult, and sometimes all you need to do is ask someone for help, send one single email, send that one job application letter. It's so simple sometimes. It's like these big issues that we can't seem to deal with. If we break them down into baby steps and we start putting the work in and we believe in ourselves, we can achieve so much. And I think telling myself that everything is figureoutable is such a great way to hold on to that growth mindset and to remind myself that growth is possible and that I can achieve so much more than what I think I'm capable of. So that's basically what I wanted to share with you in this video. I'm really curious how you see mindset, whether you think you have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset, and how that served you so far. I'm curious to see if maybe you've recognized that you have more of a fixed mindset and maybe you would like to shift it into a growth mindset. I'm just really curious to hear your thoughts on this topic. For now, I want to end this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon in the next video.